Dinosaurs ruled the earth for over 165 million years. However, there were many animals that lived before, during, and after that were just as formidable. We've picked 36 that dominate the others. In this show, we will talk about these dangerous animals, including when they lived, what they ate, their weaponry, and how humans would fare if these creatures were still alive. From the largest animal of all time to griffin flies that could decimate ecosystems, to an elephant that could kill a T-Rex. This is 72 Dangerous Animals, Prehistory. Squalocorax grew up to 16 feet long and weighed up to 2,400 pounds. It lived 109 to 66 million years ago in the oceans worldwide.
Squalocorax, the crow shark, was a lamniform shark, meaning it likely looked a lot like the modern great white shark. Squalocorax is known mostly by fossils of its teeth. However, a complete articulated skeleton is known from Kansas, as well as several other semi-articulated skeletons from other parts of North America. Its teeth were up to 3 centimeters high and serrated, and relatively small for the size of the shark. The teeth somewhat resembled tiger shark teeth. Something interesting about Squalocorax is that its teeth were heart-shaped. Squalocorax is confirmed to eat dinosaurs, as a hadrosaur metatarsal bone has a Squalocorax tooth embedded in it. There are also Squalocorax tooth marks on pteranodon bones. They also would have eaten small mosasaurs, turtles, and fish. Squalocorax was prey for giant mosasaurs like Tylosaurus. Squalocorax lived in both coastal and pelagic environments, meaning if it were alive today, it would frequently encounter humans. Being a large shark and a coastal predator, it would act in the exact way as great white sharks, occasionally mistaking us for prey and attacking us by accident. This would result in several kills per year, which is awesome.
Squalocorax takes first place for now. Can it be beaten by a hairy elephant? Woolly mammoths grew up to 16 feet long and weighed up to 18,000 pounds. They lived 400,000 to 4,000 years ago in North America, Europe, and Asia.
Due to the abundance of material belonging to woolly mammoths, they are one of the best studied prehistoric animals. We have skeletons, teeth, frozen carcasses, stomach contents, dung, and cave paintings of them. Males reached heights of 11.5 feet and weighed 18,000 pounds, while females reached heights of 8.5 feet and weighed 8,800 pounds. Woolly mammoths lived during the last ice age and were extremely well adapted for it, with 2 layers of fur, small ears to prevent frostbite and heat loss, and tusks and a trunk to manipulate objects and forage with. They had 4 molars that were replaced up to 6 times throughout their lives. As they grew, their molars wore out. After the 6th pair became useless, the mammoth died of starvation. They could live up to 60 years. Woolly mammoths fed mostly on grasses. When mammoth bones first became known to Europeans, they were interpreted as modern elephants that were transported to the Arctic by the Great Biblical Flood. This was originally proposed in 1728 and widely believed for decades. In 1764, the remains of Mosasaurus were discovered, which resulted in the concept of extinction. In 1796, the woolly mammoth was recognized as an extinct relative of modern elephants, a new species for the first time. In 2006, a mitochondrial genome profile analysis was done on the woolly mammoth's DNA, which proved and confirmed that Asian elephants are their closest living relatives. In 2008, the woolly mammoth's chromosomal DNA was analyzed, revealing that it is genetically 99.4% identical to African elephants. They would even be closer to Asian elephants. The nuclear genome was mapped too. In 2012, proteins were identified. Woolly mammoths originated in Asia and crossed the Bering Strait 100,000 years ago into North America. The oldest species of mammoth lived in Africa. Woolly mammoths had a domed head and a large hump over their shoulders. The outer layer of fur consisted of guard hairs, which were thick and ranged from 12 to 35 inches long. The undercoat consisted of thinner hairs, which measured up to 3 inches long. The tail was only 14 inches long, but the tip had very thick hairs that measured up to 24 inches long. The largest woolly mammoth tusk measured over 14 feet long and weighed 287 pounds. Adult woolly mammoths could easily use their large size, tusks, and trunk to defend themselves from predators. Juveniles were preyed on by wolves, hyenas, and cats. Woolly mammoth tusks weren't able to stab things due to their curvature, but they could use them to hit things. Evidence of this is broken scapulas of other mammoths. Males could use their tusks to fight each other over territory or mates. Thanks to woolly mammoths being digitigrade and having foot pads, they could walk nearly silently. Woolly mammoths lived in groups, like modern elephants, with males being solitary. Woolly mammoths had skin an inch thick, with a layer of fat 4 inches thick underneath the skin. Woolly mammoths existed at the same time as both modern humans and Neanderthals. Both used woolly mammoth bones and skin to construct dwellings. The bones at a single dwelling varied in age by thousands of years, meaning they were collecting long-dead mammoths as well as hunting them. Woolly mammoths were also used to make furniture, tools, art, and musical instruments. Both Neanderthals and modern humans hunted woolly mammoths as well as scavenged them. Some woolly mammoth bones have cut marks and breaks in them caused by stone tools. Climate change and human hunting led to the demise of the woolly mammoth. The mainland population went extinct around 14,000 to 9,650 years ago. There was a small population on St. Paul Island that survived until 5,600 years ago, and a population on Wrangel Island that survived until 4,000 years ago. Woolly mammoths were powerful creatures. They could use their trunk and tusks to kill humans as well as stomp them. If a mammoth wanted to kill you, you would likely die. There would not be much chance of escape.
The woolly mammoth would kill many more people than Squalocorax, putting it in first place. Squalocorax moves to second. Next up, the colorful snake. Wanambi grew up to 20 feet or longer and weighed up to 200 pounds. It lived 23 million years ago to 12,000 years ago in Australia.
Wanambi, the rainbow serpent, was named after the Australian Aboriginal god, who goes by many names. The rainbow serpent god is said to be the creator of life, however, when disturbed brings chaos. There is another giant prehistoric snake known as Urlanger that also lived in Australia, and funnily enough, Urlanger is another one of the many names for the rainbow serpent, meaning both Wanambi and Urlanger were named after the same thing. Wanambi was a member of the Madsoidae family. Madsoid snakes were constrictors like pythons, however, were not closely related to them. Wanambi was the first prehistoric snake discovered in Australia. Wanambi was the last member of Madsoidae to go extinct. All other Madsoids went extinct 55 million years ago, other than Urlanger, which went extinct 11 million years ago, while Wanambi died out 12,000 years ago. Wanambi grew to the size of a fairly large green anaconda at a length of over 20 feet. It is thought that Wanambi would wait at watering holes and ambush kangaroos, wallabies, and other animals that came to the water's edge to drink. Wanambi likely went extinct due to Aboriginal Australians killing them off. This large snake could attack and eat humans like modern pythons and anacondas. Once you were in its grip, it would be nearly impossible to escape.
Wanambi can't top the woolly mammoth, but it beats Squalocorax due to its habit of targeting humans and takes second place, pushing Squalocorax to third. Incoming, a massive insect. Meganora had a wingspan of up to 2.5 feet and was up to 1.3 feet long. It weighed 1 or more pounds. It lived 305 to 299 million years ago in North America and Europe. Meganora was part of the superorder that contains dragonflies, damselflies, and griffinflies. Meganora is the largest griffinfly, with Meganeuropsis being a very close second. The difference between dragonflies and griffinflies is that their wings have slightly different venation. Meganora had spiny legs like a praying mantis that it used to grasp and hold prey. Its jaws were just like modern dragonfly jaws. Modern dragonflies have big, chewing mouth parts that are more powerful than mantis jaws and are capable of drawing blood when biting a human. Mantids can bite through bone, meaning dragonflies can too. Meganora, at a much larger size, would be capable of biting off a human finger. It had a nearly 30-inch wingspan. That's 2.5 feet. Meganora nymphs looked identical to modern dragonfly nymphs and even had the same extendable mouth parts. Nymphs would have preyed on small fish and amphibians. Adults would prey on anything on land that was decently sized, such as other insects, lizards, and other creatures. Meganora could not exist in today's world, as it required much more oxygen in the atmosphere in order to survive. However, for the purpose of this show, we are ignoring problems like this so that they can encounter humans. Now, Meganora would not have killed and eaten humans. However, it would bite us whenever it felt like it, as modern dragonflies seem to do so for no good reason. Dragonfly bites are very painful, and as I said, Meganora's would be a lot worse. The way Meganora would affect us would not be direct. Meganora had a body 1.3 feet long, a wingspan of 2.5 feet, and weighed a pound or more. Dragonflies can carry prey items 2.5 times their weight while flying. Griffinflies preyed on anything smaller than them. Do you see where I'm going with this? Meganora, if introduced into every environment they could survive in around the world and ignoring the oxygen issue, would decimate every ecosystem they touched. They would eat our pollinators. You may say, a honeybee is too small for them, but it's not. Modern dragonflies will target mosquitoes and other small prey items. Meganora would eat bees, bats, songbirds, small mammals like rabbits and rodents, lizards, snakes, dragonflies, butterflies, moths, literally any other insect, arachnids, myriapods, etc. Meganora nymphs would decimate fish, amphibian, and aquatic invertebrate populations. They would be about the same size as adult Meganoras, so about 15 inches long. They would eat all the young fish, preventing adults from existing. No matter how many Meganora nymphs are eaten by larger predators, there would still be enough left to eliminate the smaller fish. Give it a few years and the larger fish will be scarce as well due to die-offs. As they grow up, they will take to the skies and kill terrestrial prey. If a 1-pound Meganora could lift things 2.5 times its weight, it would be strong enough to take out pretty much all North American birds. Even hawks wouldn't be safe, as the average male red-tailed hawk weighs less than 2.5 pounds. The hawks wouldn't be able to defend themselves, as they would be snatched from above by Meganora by surprise. One bite to the neck would sever the spinal cord. Birds actually have thin necks, but they appear larger due to their feathers. But a Meganora could push its jaws past the feathers and kill its target. Dragonflies have a much faster reaction time than most other animals. Meganora, like dragonflies, would have had a faster reaction time than both snakes and cats. Its head was essentially all eyes, meaning it could see in every direction at once and avoid any incoming attacks with super speed. It could potentially fly at speeds of 35 miles per hour, which is slower than a lot of birds, but it could turn quicker, fly backwards, directly up, directly down, and hover. They can track and lock onto their prey mid-flight, which combined with their other features gives them a 97% success rate while hunting. Wolves only have a 20% success rate. Tigers have 5%. Dragonflies can generate a force of 9 times the force of gravity when turning. This is comparable to the best fighter jets. Songbirds would be easy prey for Meganora, as they are mostly small and lightweight. Meganora's exoskeleton would have been very strong at the size it is, and would have been immune to most bird talons. Eagles may be the only animals capable of preying on Meganora due to their large size and massive talons, but even then, Meganora could defend itself. With its mantis legs and powerful jaws, it could scare the crap out of an eagle that targeted it. Eagles' usual prey items can't fight back. Meganora would startle the eagle, resulting in it being released. Meganora, even if injured, would likely survive, as arthropods are built different and can survive injuries that would kill or seriously harm vertebrates, such as losing limbs. Essentially, most small vertebrate and invertebrate life would be taken out by Meganora. Eventually, they would hit carrying capacity and die out, though likely only after all the food has been eaten. It's like Jurassic World Dominion, except instead of locusts eating plants, it's griffinflies eating the things that pollinate the plants, as well as many other creatures. Everything would die off, and humans would be without a good chunk of their diets. Even the meat we eat would be compromised, as the animals we eat depend on plants being pollinated too. It would take a lot of effort to recover from a global food shortage, and it may not even be possible. Be thankful that Meganora couldn't survive in the present-day atmosphere. It went extinct after oxygen levels dropped. Meganora shoots straight to first. Its ecosystem-disrupting power would seriously affect humans. While it wouldn't kill you directly, it would still cause some serious damage to the human population long-term. The woolly mammoth falls to second, Wanambi to third, and Squalocorax to fourth. Up next, a creature once thought to be a wolf. Dire wolves grew up to 6 feet long and weighed up to 240 pounds. They lived 125,000 to 9,500 years ago in North and South America.
Dire wolves were large canines that were about the same size as today's largest wolves. They lived in plains, grasslands, forests, and savannas. Its teeth and skull looked identical to gray wolves, but its teeth were larger and more powerful. Dire wolves were built to kill larger and struggling prey. Its canine teeth resembled cats and hyenas more than dogs. It fed on horses, camels, ground sloths, bison, and mastodon. The dire wolf was thought to be a wolf for over a century and was originally given the scientific name Canis dirus. In 2021, it was revealed through DNA analysis that the dire wolf was not a member of Canis and instead took on the name Enoceirus dirus. Dire wolves and gray wolves have nearly identical skeletons. However, the shared traits were due to convergent evolution, as they were not actually closely related. Dire wolves had a very large head compared to their body size. Dire wolves competed with smilodons and American lions for prey and resources. Other competitors included Arctodus, the modern mountain lion, gray wolf, and coyote. Dire wolves were not specialists and fed on whichever herbivores were most common at the time. Its bite force was much stronger than the gray wolf. Thousands of direwolf specimens have been preserved at the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, California. These tar pits are what is known as predator traps. Predator traps are when herbivores get stuck in a natural hazard, such as tar pits, mudstone, or a volcanic gas trap, and die, which then attracts predators that come to feed on the carcasses, only to then become stuck themselves. They are called predator traps because there are far more predators found at the traps than prey animals. A total of more than 750,000 specimens have been removed from the La Brea tar pits. Dire wolves are the most common predator found at the tar pits, with Smilodon being the second most common. There are also gray wolves preserved in the tar pits, but the dire wolves outnumbered them 5-1. Dire wolves hunted as packs, which consisted of an alpha pair and their offspring from the previous years. Humans often interacted with dire wolves and competed for food. In the modern world, these wolves would likely kill as many people as the wolves of today. Modern wolves are extremely dangerous. In France alone, over 10,000 people have been killed by gray wolves in the last 700 years. In other parts of Europe and Asia, wolves have killed close to another 10,000 people in the past 700 years. In North America, only 3 people have been killed recently. North American gray wolves attack humans much less often and have almost never killed anyone. A lot of the Eurasian attacks were predatory. About 1/4 of the Eurasian attacks were due to rabies. They almost always targeted young humans, with nearly 90% of kills being on people under 10 years old. Dire wolves could keep up with or increase these trends, making them extremely dangerous.
The dire wolf would be very dangerous, allowing it to take second place. The woolly mammoth drops to third, Wanambi to fourth, and Squalocorax to fifth. Here comes a big hell pig. Archaeotherium grew up to 10 feet long and weighed up to 1,300 pounds. It lived 35 to 28 million years ago in North America.
Archaeotherium, the ancient beast, was a large entelodont. It had an elongated snout and extensions on its zygomatic arches. Archaeotherium had thick skin on its face to protect from bites from other Archaeotheriums. It had a hump on its back made of powerful muscles to support its neck. Its toes were not fused, allowing for flexibility. It likely had a fleshy pad on its feet. It had large incisors and canines. Its teeth were perfect for grabbing and puncturing prey, which helped prevent escape. Archaeotherium was an omnivore, but was strongly adapted for killing prey animals. There is evidence that Archaeotherium stored killed prey in a safe spot to eat later. Archaeotherium had forward-facing eyes that gave it binocular vision, a sign of a true predator. It could open its mouth at an angle of 109 degrees, allowing it to take a massive bite out of a prey item. It had a very strong bite force. It could bite through both hard fruits and bones. Archaeotherium would bite its prey's skull to crush it and kill the animal. Then it would eat the front half of the animal and store the rear half for later. Archaeotherium has a small brain but a good sense of smell. Archaeotherium could easily kill most of the animals in its habitat. Humans would stand no chance.
Archaeotherium can't top Meganora or the dire wolf. It takes third, pushing the woolly mammoth to fourth, Wanabe to fifth, and Squalocorax to sixth. Meganora wins this episode and moves on to her finalists. Next episode on 72 Dangerous Animals Prehistory, a prehistoric sperm whale, upright walking crocodile, and a furry rhino. U.S. President Thomas Jefferson, who was a huge paleontology nerd, was responsible for transforming the word mammoth from the name of the animal into an adjective used to describe massive objects. In each episode, we will rank the creatures from 1 to 6 on a scale of how potentially dangerous these creatures would be to humans, and the winner of each episode will show down with the other 5 finalists in the season finale to decide on which prehistoric creature was the ultimate human killing machine.